Ecumenism. Ecumenism.
Prairie Center for Ecumenism. Ecumenism?
Ecumenism may be difficult to pronounce, but it is not difficult to understand. The ministry of the Prairie Center for Ecumenism is to call the churches into unity and visible reconciliation. This unity is expressed in one faith and one fellowship in Christ. The sponsoring churches of Saskatoon have been working together now for 30 years, and the Prairie Center for Ecumenism is the fruit of that labor. The Week of Prayer for Christian Unity is a highlight of our ministry. In 2014, Canada was chosen to prepare the educational and worship materials for the Week of Prayer. The Prairie Center for Ecumenism and the Canadian Center for Ecumenism in Montreal were major contributors to the 2014 resources. A theme of these resources was the giftedness of our different traditions. We celebrated what we offer one another and what we receive from each other.
Each church will offer a symbol of their Christian identity: a cross, an icon, a musical instrument, a book, whatever depicts their own traits as disciples of Jesus.
When I first came to Saskatoon 17 years ago, I was drawn to the fact that there was a Center for Ecumenism in Saskatoon, a very rare thing anywhere, and particularly in Canada. So I was delighted that I could participate in a center that was dedicated to promoting Christian unity and preparing people to think about and act out their Christian lives in ecumenical ways. This summer we're beginning something new and creative, and that is the Program for Ecumenical Studies and Formation. It's an exciting project because it will help people deepen their understanding of ecumenism. Ecumenism isn't just an idea or a theological topic, it's a way that people live. And this program will help people to deepen the way that they live into ecumenical life in all aspects.
As a clerk of presbytery in the Presbyterian Church, I have the pleasure of participating in the Saskatoon Church Leaders Group. The Prairie Center for Ecumenism has been coordinating the Church Leaders Group for 30 years. Bishops and other leaders of the sponsoring churches, as well as other Christian churches, get together every 6 to 8 weeks to build relationships between the leaders and churches and to coordinate our efforts. Over the years, the group has been a place of growing unity between the churches as Christian leaders get to know one another personally and begin to work together in common mission and common witness in the community.
Many of us have first-hand knowledge of ecumenism from family experience. An aunt who was baptized in the United Church who married a Roman Catholic. There are many cases like this. Often they involve families worshiping in both churches. Ecumenism plays a significant role in the faith story of interchurch families. One of the things that I've realized working here at the Prairie Center as director is that the connection between ecumenism and interchurch families, concrete lived ecumenism, you might say, is really, really important to our ministry. Now, I know that the two of you know the interchurch family experience very well.
Well, it started 27 years ago when we first started dating. And I was Lutheran and Shirley was Catholic. And hey, if we're going to make this work, we're going to have to go to each other's churches.
You found yourself a good Catholic girl. So now the question is, how do we make it work?
That's right. And because this was a second marriage for us, we had children coming into this relationship. So we took into account that because of our children, we would belong to the two churches, and we would introduce our children as well as ourselves to the way we could worship in the two churches. So that's really, we took into account the whole family, not just the two of us.
Listening to your story makes me really excited because it shows that ecumenism, in your case and in so many other cases, starts in the home. And then, as you've said, it grows outward from there. It starts with families getting together in an ecumenical context and then involving their pure priests, involving their pastors, involving their bishops, and all of a sudden it becoming this international network, and you're being fed by the church and you're feeding the church at the same time. It's that back and forth. Now, I know that the Prairie Center for Ecumenism has played a significant role in that. You've mentioned Father Bernard and how he got the ball rolling in a very significant way. And I know that you've been supporters of the Prairie Center for Ecumenism. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, it was a place to go to. It was a source of information. It was very important that we continue to support the center in this cause, because we are going to go sooner or later, and something has to carry on this center of ecumenism, and this involves having the funds and all that other stuff, plus the people that are involved. And by us doing this, it might be a glimmer of hope for somebody else that are in your same boat and say, hey, this is important. We got to do something about it. And hopefully that's where the support comes from.
Yeah. So.
And another thing in supporting the Prairie Center for Ecumenism, Bernie and I are representatives to the two churches, the Catholic Church that we attend and the Lutheran Church that we attend, as representatives and liaison between the Prairie Center for Ecumenism and our own churches. And at the present time, we're really trying to make ecumenism become alive in our church. It's a living thing, and it's a daily thing. And we would like more people to know that to be ecumenical is important.
The Prairie Center also supports ecumenical shared ministries, which is really just any combination of Christian denominations sharing a program, a mission, a ministry, or a building. Ecumenical shared ministries have become an exciting option in Canada. There are all kinds of reasons why a shared ministry may be a choice made by faith communities, and national dialogues between our sponsoring denominations, along with shared resources, are helping to make these new shared ministries a success.
Here in Saskatoon, the Christian churches are very committed over a number of years to working together to foster Christian unity. Jesus himself prayed the night before he died that his disciples would be one, that just as he was one with the Father, so that they would be one with us. And so we are summoned by the Lord himself to be instruments of reconciliation. Christ does not will that our churches are separated from one another. In Saskatoon, we are celebrating this year the 30th anniversary of the Prairie Center for Ecumenism. The Prairie Center is at the service of the churches, at the service of reconciliation among the churches. We seek to foster common study, common prayer, common witness, common mission. And one of our newest initiatives is a summer ecumenical program where we're fostering, over a 3-year period, fostering young ecumenists, fostering people to be prepared to serve as ecumenical officers in their churches or in their dioceses, and where they will go forth with the tools to be artisans of reconciliation.
My name is Reverend Deb Walker, and I'm a member of the board of the Prairie Centre for Ecumenism, representing the United Church of Canada. The Prairie Centre has no congregation, which is why it is up to us to discover ways to give.